All right, I think we're moving on now to our last item, which is the State Water Resources Control Board. We have vote-only items on page 20 and 21, and a little bit on 22. Quite a few. We have a request to separate them, so we will do them by group. First, I will take a motion on the following items: 1, 7, 8, 9, and 11. And all right, that has been moved by Senator Nielsen. Let me just repeat what they are and ask for public comment. Drinking Water Operator Certification Program. 7 is the Urban Retail Water Suppliers. 8 is the School District Account Technical Assistance. 9 is the Site Cleanup Subaccount. And 11 is Water Rights Fund Technical Adjustment. That has been moved. And I'll take public comment on any of those items. Seeing none, it has been moved by Senator Nielsen. Please call the roll.
Senators Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? Aye. Senator Pavley?
Aye. All right, 3-0, they are approved. I will now entertain a motion on 3, 4, 5, and 6.
How about 2?
Whoops. Yeah, we don't have 2 in there. We'll get back to that. You wanted, yes, I understand. And 10. So these are the ones we have agreement on. So I'll take a motion on the Low-Income Water Aid Assistance Program, the No-Cost Conversion of Surface Water Ambient Monitoring Program, contract funding to personal services, public water system consolidations, Safe Drinking Water Account Expenditure Authority, and the Timber Regulation and Forest Restoration Program implementation. I believe that's it. So we have a motion on that.
So moved.
Moved by Senator Pavley. Public comment on any of those? Please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? No. Senator Pavley?
Aye. All right. They are approved 2-1. Let's go back then to item number 2. We need the Water Board. Who's here? Come forward. Mr. Howard. All right. We will, these are vote-only items, so is there a motion on the board member per diem?
I'll move that, but I have a question as well.
All right, it has been moved. Let's, you're on.
I know how hard and how time-consuming participation on some of the regional water boards are, and the preparation and their workload. You know, LA, Ventura County, I know that one. But I didn't know if that was equivalent all over the state or whether there's some criteria of how you up to $500 based on the significance of the workload. I don't know if everyone meets X number of days a month or it's different. I know it's per day, but are the jobs sort of equal? And the only reason I'm asking that is once you move forward with this, and I don't oppose this, I would assume other commissions and boards are going to ask for the same thing. Should the Coastal Commission get $500 a day plus $500? Maybe so. That's, I was on the Coastal Commission. You get a box once a month that is just filled with papers to read in small font. So I'm just, you know, what is, should there be criteria built in at some point in time so when other boards and commissions do this, justifying why this one is unique and significant? What is that threshold that gets you from 1 to 500?
Yeah, I don't
across the state.
My name is Tom Howard. I'm the executive director at the State Water Board. I have John Russell with me. He's in charge of our administrative services. Chair Wolk, Senator Pavley, Senator Nielsen. I don't have a criteria that I would propose at this point. You are correct that you know, some regional boards have a much higher workload than others. The Central Valley Regional Board meets once a month, for sometimes twice, 2 days in a row, working late into the night, and they have a very large box each time of materials. To some extent, that issue is dealt with by the frequency of meetings in the Colorado River region, for example, which is one of our less busy regions. They often meet only once every 3 months or so. And so, while I would agree that there is a differential workload, I think that to some extent, like I say, it's taken into account by the frequency of meetings.
One could argue, though, whether a meeting lasts 2 hours or 20 hours and the preparation time is.
I would not argue that there's equivalent workload among the regions, no.
Senator Nielsen? Yes.
Mr. Howard, I had a good conversation with
24,000.
Director Marcus, and, I have great respect for the board. But this is such an astounding increase, it's pretty tough to have the public look at this and say, gee. And if it's hard to see such an increase and justify it to the public. And is there a cap on how much? In other words, it would be the times they meet. And preparation, is it only one day they get to prepare, or could it be several days to prepare?
No, the provision, I believe, allows only 1 day for preparation, and there is a cap in the total amount of money that is allocated to all of the regional boards based on the number of expected days of meeting and the daily per diem. I understand it's a large number going from 100 to 500. I would note that the 100 was established in '89, and I don't know, I probably make 3 or 4 times as much now than I made in '89 working for the state. So, if there had been cost of living increases like there were for state employees during that period, I'm sure we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, but that didn't happen.
Are there any other boards that receive $500 per diem? Any other boards in the state?
I'm not aware of any other boards that receive that, anything other than 100 per diem. I know there are a couple of boards, like the State Air Resources Control Board, that meets on a periodic basis, and they have a salary, I think, of like $41,000 for their part-time members annually. But I'm not aware of any other volunteer board that gets anything other than $100 a month.
Is it not so that the board members could receive per diem for other than just prep days and actual board days, that there could be meetings and seminars and, they could have, many, many days a month, could they not?
There is like I've said, there is a cap, and we do intend to, provide guidance to the board members. If they spend a day at a conference where they're an invited speaker or something along those lines in their role as an official representative, then yes, we expect that they would be able to charge days like that. But we don't expect that they'd be able to do things like, well, I've got a couple of phone calls today, and so I'll charge for a day of work. And we were going to put together some guidelines to the regional boards so that they can be sure they know what the rules would be.
Has there been a dearth of individuals wanting to serve on the board? Has that been a problem?
I think we do have a problem filling board seats, and I would, appointment secretary, we could inquire with her, but I think they do struggle to keep the seats full, finding qualified candidates who are willing to serve, and quite honestly, I think they get a lot of folks who would like to serve, but it's a big obligation, and the lack of compensation makes it difficult for them to be able to do it. It gets to the question of whether or not we're adequately representing, the economic situations or economic diversity on these boards, because the people who can afford to go are relatively often well off. Many have retired. That's why you can afford to participate in these volunteer type of activities.
Well, there's certainly good people, and I know some of them, and
Absolutely.
And I respect that, but it's pretty hard to justify it in the eyes of the public. I mean, that's just so excessive. And and I'm reluctant to say, yeah, go ahead, and then the board puts forth their own criteria, what they will approve. In other words, well, we'll justify you going to this kind of conference, but not that kind of conference. It sounds like it's just an open-end deck, and you'll do what you want to do. And is it, I heard a figure 700,000, and that would be the total budget of the board for per diem. Is that a static figure?
Yes, it would be
Cap?
static. The cap is 700 and something thousand for all 9 regional boards for a year.
Okay.
And it wouldn't go up with inflation or anything of that nature.
All right. And so no indexing of that figure then?
No, not that I'm aware of.
All right. And they have to, how do they account for the per diem? Do the members turn in some kind of a timesheet or something like that, what they were participating in or doing, or how do they account for their time?
You know, right, honestly, I don't know what the method we use presently is. We do have some method to, for the $100 that they get, but I am not aware of the particulars. I don't know if, John, you are aware of.
Yeah, each regional board member submits their expenses to their regional board administrative officers, and they track those and compile them and then submit them for reimbursement. So they are tracked.
I see. Well, I have great respect for the board, but I can't find myself to be able to support this kind of an increase. I just think the optics are really, really bad, and I don't think the justification is sufficient. For all the respect I have for the board, I just can't see that. And I see I don't want to call it an arms race, but look out. Every other board, members of the legislature are, here we come. If the water board gets it, well, we do far more, and we deserve it ourselves, and here we come. I just see a huge invitation to a lot of boards coming and wanting $500 per diem, and it's a pretty unlimited thing, $700,000, and there's nothing to say that you couldn't exceed it, correct? I mean, that's a self-imposed cap.
Oh, no, that would be part of the law.
It's a capped line item budget?
Yes.
You could not exceed that budget?
We presently exceed, we presently bump up against the cap for some of the regional boards as it is now and don't pay them for any, because the existing cap is in place and also becomes controlling in some.
Now, is this derived from your general fund, or would it be conceivably derived from fees or fines that the board imposes?
That was my question, because it says here various special funds, and I wanted to, that makes a difference to me if it's self-supporting through people that do business in front of the regional boards.
Yeah, most of it would probably come from our fee payers as one of our indirect costs.
Well, that's another huge problem for me.
All right.
I like that part better, but because it's not general fund relating to precedent of other boards and commissions asking for the same thing. This is based on workload created by the people that actually want the attention and the participation and the time commitment by these board members. And so if it is fee-based and not general fund, then that sort of curtails potentially the explosion into every board and commission.
All right. We have a proposal in front of us to increase those special funds to increase the regional water board per diem from 100 to 500. Is there a motion?
I'll move that.
It has been moved by Senator Pavley. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? No. Senator Pavley?
2-1, that is approved. Let's go to the first issue. We have 3 issues in front of us. The water rights permitting and licensing augmentation. You're on.
Thank you. So this proposal requests 7 positions and $851,000 from the Water Rights Fund. It's to fund our core regulatory activities, application processing, petition processing, licensing activities. It's unfortunate that we have what I'd characterize as a very substantial backlog in this work. Rather depressing when I look at the size of the backlog. I mean, we're a decade or so of work backlogged in applications, and the number that my staff gives me is 44 years of backlog in licensing, which is, well, not a sustainable type of situation. So we have been trying to streamline the processing as much as possible. We've put together some policies so that the rules are perfectly clear. We've established all sorts of boilerplate language. We've got a outside group looking at us now, what we refer to as the Sigma 6 program, to see whether or not there are efficiencies that we can develop. But really, it seems to me that without an augmentation, we'll be looking at a pretty severe backlog for quite a bit of time. So we're asking to have that approved.
All right. Leo, any comments?
Sean Martin with Legislative Analyst Office, no issues.
Any comments from the committee?
No, I'm ready to move the bill. I know about the backlog, and we need to
Indeed.
reduce that.
All right, Senator Pavley has moved approval of this item as proposed. Is there any public comment? Come forward.
I wanted to say I appreciate the absolutely heroic work the board has been doing during the drought. However, I did have a...
Would you tell us your name, please?
My name is Deirdre Desjardins. I'm from Santa Cruz. I'm a scientist. I did have a question. A big part of the water rights workload is the water fix change petition. There were some specific mandates in the Delta Reform Act, and the Delta Reform Act directed the board shall enter into an agreement with the state water project contractors and the federal Central Valley project contractors who rely on water exported from the Sacramento River watershed or a joint powers authority composed of those contractors for reimbursement of the costs of the analysis conducted pursuant to this section. It's 85086. And I've looked everywhere online. I haven't found that agreement anywhere.
All right,
So just an observation.
we'll get to that as soon as we're finished with public comment.
Robert Gore from the Gualco Group on behalf of the largest fee payers, Modesto Irrigation, Kern County, Kings River, Imperial, and also the California wine grape growers. We strongly oppose the State Water Board's BCP to tap the Water Rights Fund. Bad actors, responsible parties have traditionally paid for enforcement actions and permits. They should continue to do so, not water rights fee payers. Members of a regional program should not be forced to pay for projects that are sometimes hundreds of miles distant with no local benefit. It is also a financial hardship. The drought has seriously impacted irrigation districts and their ratepayers. This increase would double the increase we agreed to last year at the water rights stakeholders to about 17 or 18%, which is, although it looks to be budget dust, a severe impact. The stakeholders have, for the past 3 years, actively worked with the Water Board staff and annually agree to justified fee increases. We will continue to collaborate for a sound fiscal program. We respectfully ask this be held open as it was by your Assembly colleagues. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, please.
Gail Delahant with Western Growers Association. We do align ourselves with the comments of Mr. Gore a few minutes ago also. Just so you know that agriculture does produce information that is, for transparency's sakes and for accountability's sake, the Irrigated Lands Programs requires us to submit data to the regional boards and to the state board, and throughout all of our permits and everything is transparency and accountability. And you folks have also required that through lots of legislation that we passed in the last, like, 3 years here. And I've been part of the stakeholder group also, not just for the water rights fees, but the water quality fees. And it is extremely difficult to get transparency and accountability information out of the water board. So we ask that you deny this request at this time so that we can get through this process. We're still waiting for documentation on some spreadsheets that they've promised us for the last 3 years. And we're still waiting for that information. There are 2 bills in the legislature right now on transfers, and that's supposed to streamline the process even further. That could relate to less fees. The other thing that really concerns us is there's no specificity on who is going to pay these fees. Is it going to be on my yearly water rights fee, or is it going to be on new permits, on change petitions, on, we're not quite sure. So we'd really like to see some more specificity. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, perhaps you'd like to deal with some of those questions. My understanding was this is for the backlog, so pretty much established what it's for.
Yeah, there's no,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
no, there's no question what it's for. It is for the core regulatory program. I hear the comment that there's a lack of transparency at the board. It seems to me, I always thought we were about as transparent as an organization could be. But if there's some information that's lacking that we need to be providing to folks, we will certainly do so. We meet constantly, or we meet a number of times with the water right fee payers. And yes, the comment by Gail Delahunt is right, that we haven't sorted out, we have an annual fee setting process in which we divide the fees between what we charge people who have filed permits versus the ongoing, annual charge, and we'll be in discussion with the fee stakeholders about what the appropriate way to spread that out for this particular increase. Obviously, I think it's probably warranted that some of it comes out of the core, out of the permit fee itself, but I think that it's also, should some of it potentially come out of the annual fee we charge all permittees, because we're adding into that pool of people as we process these applications. Regarding the question of the 2010, the particular about the water fix was, in my recollection, a provision in the water code that required the water contractors to pay for a report that we completed in 2010. It was a technical report on delta outflow requirements, and you're stretching my recollection here quite a bit. I know we had an agreement. I remember seeing the agreement. I can't guarantee that there was ever any payment associated with it, though that was the intent. Regarding the overall question, and the question that I think you raised as well about the cost of the water fix and the water board's, funding of it in the department and the Bureau, for the petition itself, the actual filing of the petition, they paid a fee of about $100,000, but their annual fees combined are about $6 million to us, and our processing of the petition is running about a little less, I think, than about $2 million, and that'll only be for the next 2 years, we think. So, actually, they're paying a very large share of the total fee cost in relation to, I think, the amount of work that we're providing the department and the Bureau.
They're paying a share, not the entire amount.
No, I think they're paying more than the entire amount. My point is that, yes, they only paid a very small processing fee. That's just what we charge for the actual filing of the petition. But their annual fees that they pay to us, the annual charge we charge all our water right holders, comes to about $6 million from the department and the Bureau combined. We estimate it's costing less than $2 million a year for the next couple of years to process the water fix petition. when you add up that $6 million over all the years that the Department and Bureau are paying for it, and then this rather small window for us dealing with the water fix, and you look at the totality of what they're paying, I think they pay more than their share of the fees if we're basing it solely on the amount of work that they cause us.
I hear you. On the water fix issue that was raised by in public testimony, can you make available to the committee the report that you mentioned that's in response to the 2009 legislation, the Delta Reform Act?
Yes, that is
I would
posted, and
appreciate
we will
that.
certainly send
Thank
it to the committee.
Thanks. All right, we have in front of us, yes, Mr. Vice Chair, absolutely, Senator Nielsen.
Madam Chair, I don't want to be too fussy, but I would beg if we could keep this open. And it's a far broader issue. Forever, all entities of government have come to the legislature year after year with backlogs. And the request is always, give us more money, give us more money. And the next year, the backlog remains or is increased, and the response is, give us more money. And in some cases, a lot of more money. One asked for $20 million, and it went from being $21 million for this year to be a continuous appropriation of $20 million. Now, that's not what the Water Board is asking. But what I would ask that we require and put it over is to say, okay, we'll consider that, but we want a backlog retirement plan, a hard and fast. You give us this amount of money, and this is how we will reduce the backlog, by deploying X number of part-time positions. And I'm reluctant to authorize full-time positions, and maybe that's not what you're asking here, but not full-time positions, because backlog's a short-term deal. So we give you part-time positions. You report to us quarterly of the positions deployed for this purpose and the numbers of the backlog cases you've reduced, so that we can track it. And we don't wait a year and you come back and the backlog's increased by 500 or it is decreased by 50. Whenever they come, now I'm really trying to ask those questions and get some assurances, so it isn't just an ongoing deal and it's just a ticket for more and more money. And again, I'm not being specific to the Water Board. It's probably the least egregious request that I've seen in a long time. But boy, I'll tell you, it's standard practice in the agencies around here to have backlogs and ask for more money.
The fact that the Assembly has held this open, I think it's important that we be on the same page here on this issue. So I think my recommendation would be, unless there's a strong objection, to hold this open and to ask the Water Board to consider the suggestions of Senator Nielsen.
Yeah, and I only would, in response to Senator Nielsen, in the BCP itself, we identify how much work we've been doing in each of these areas over the last few years and what the increase will be, and we perfectly the increase in productivity that these additional staff would provide. And of course, we'd be happy to provide an accounting to the Senate as years go by. And in that regard, I'd like to point out, the Water Board has a performance report on its website that I think rivals a performance report of any other organization in the country, federal, state, or whatever. And it really provides excruciating detail about the amount of money we're spending for our various activities, what the outputs associated with it are, and we'll be continuing to track that as we go forward. So, you know, I think we've tried to, because we have so many fee payers who rely on us, we've really tried to demonstrate accountability for the money that we're getting.
All right. We look forward to resolution of this at the next meeting. Let's do water recycling and then the environmental lab. Water recycling, the budget proposal, finance letter arrived, so the recommendation is to approve as proposed. Is there?
So moved.
All right, it's been moved by Senator Pavley. Any comment?
Not if you want to.
All right.
I have one
Any questions?
Mr. Howard, I keep thinking about, I'm a big, huge component on water recycling, but with the addition of perhaps desal or water recycling or stormwater capture and reuse, we're actually going to be increasing our carbon footprint over what we have today. UCS did, Union Concerned Scientists did an excellent report. We really need to think about how, as we promote recycling, we require some part of the energy use be offset through developing renewable sources to power those facilities. And then at least it's a zero net gain. But right now, if you look at the shift to these more regional solutions on energy intensive, we're going to blow a big hole through our 2030 and 2050 climate targets.
Yeah,
And it might qualify for Water Energy Nexus GGRF funds in the future, but we have to not just keep adding to our fossil fuel.
Oh, I agree completely, obviously, but I would note that, generating local supplies through recycling is, in comparison to potential carbon footprint of trying to reach out long distances to transport water is really, generally, I believe, less energy intensive than some of the other alternatives. So, and it's also more drought resilient. But notwithstanding that, I fully agree that we should be trying to make this as zero energy level as possible.
All right, we have a number of public commenters.
Very quickly, Madam Chair and members, Mike Dillon, representing the California Association of Sanitation Agencies and Major Wastewater Agencies. As the analysis points out, we've got a lot of projects ready to go, and we appreciate the committee's action to approve the recommendation.
Thank you. Next, please. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Wendy Ritterbusch with the Association of California Water Agencies. We were delighted to see this funding brought forth, and we really think this is a key important component and one of the tools in the toolbox that we need to see move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please. Welcome.
Thank you. Pilar Oñate Quintana here on behalf of the North Bay Water Reuse Authority, which is a collection of water and wastewater agencies in Napa, Sonoma, and Marin counties, also for East Valley Water District. Similarly thrilled and supportive of this item. Thank you.
Emily Pappas with the Nemela Pappas and Associates on behalf of Santa Margarita Water District. They have been interested in applying for funds to construct a non-domestic water storage reservoir, and we have enjoyed working with staff over there for the last year. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jason Eichert with Edelstein, Gilbert, Robeson, and Smith on behalf of the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission and the Rancho Mission Viejo Company. SFPUC has a $186 million, 1.6 million gallon a day recycled water project that is applied for funding. Rancho Mission Viejo Company is partnering with Santa Margarita Water District on their project as well. Without this appropriation, they won't be able to receive grant funding. Really appreciate the staff recommendation.
All right, Senator Pavley has moved that we approve as proposed. Please call the, further discussion. Please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen?
Aye.
Senator Pavley?
Aye.
3-0. Environmental Lab Accreditation Program fees. Also, staff recommendation is to approve. Elio, any comments? Comments from the commission or from the committee? All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved that we approve the Environmental Lab Accreditation Program fees as proposed. Please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? No. Senator Pavley?
Aye.
2-1, that is approved. And we have completed our agenda for the day. Thank you all.